Okay, great. Now we are going to go over atomic patterns. So atomic pattern is basically a methodology to organize interface components that is inspired from chemistry. So a organism is composed of multiple molecules, right? And a molecule is composed of multiple atoms. If you want, you can search this pattern on Google, and there's a lot more information about it. I think there is an article that explains it very well from Medium, from what I remember, but I will explain it nonetheless. So let's go to our trusty whiteboard here. Okay, so we call atoms small components like buttons, inputs, loading bars, and so on. They are reusable, so you would use the same button in different places without like copying the code. You just import the component. And then we have molecules. They are bigger components. They consist of multiple atoms, like forms a list of photos and something along those lines. And then we have organisms, which are bigger components that contain multiple molecules. So we call them by these different names because it gives us the ability to organize them more efficiently. As you have seen in the previous video, we have a folder called UI. Here it is. And in this folder, there are another 3 folders called atoms, molecules, and organisms. We will keep the components that are going to be usable here. And you might ask why we need this pattern, and that's because we can't create a folder called like components and just throw every usable component there. And that is because you would have a chaos and incredible unclarity when your app reaches a high level of complexity. I have seen projects that have been built this way, and I assure you that I could not understand how it worked. Whereas atomic pattern keeps it clean and nice. We can have multiple UI folders, and obviously the most important one is here in RSC folder. But we can have another UI folder which with its atoms and molecules in a component folder. Okay, so say we have a component in pages, and this component uses a specific set of components that are only going to be used in this component. So we are not going to keep those components here, but rather with its parent component, or let's say, or its page. This is a principle, a best practice actually used by many. So if you have something which a page component or a B component uses, and this resource or component is being used only by this bigger component or page, you keep that with its parent. You don't use it. You don't place it in UI, and that's with all types of files. You will see that in practice when we create our components. Just keep the chemistry analogy in mind, and you will get it pretty quickly.